Today, we're diving into one of the most intense and profound discussions in literature, the story of Job. In his dialogue, Job expresses deep anguish, frustration, and confusion. It's a powerful reflection on suffering and the search for meaning in the midst of it.
Exactly. Job's experience really draws you in. His words are raw, questioning everything about his suffering, even God's role in it. There's a particular moment where he says, "Oh, that my anguish were weighed and all my calamity laid in the balances." It's such a striking image of how heavy his pain feels.
And it's not just the physical pain he's enduring, but emotional and spiritual pain too. His soul seems to be crushed under the weight of both his suffering and the silence of God. But it's interesting. Despite the overwhelming despair, Job is still seeking truth. Even in the most desperate moments, he wants to understand why.
Yeah, and that's what makes Job's story so relatable. Even today, there are moments when life just feels unbearable, and we wonder if we're the only ones feeling that way. Job's not afraid to say it out loud. He even says, "What is my strength that I should wait? What is my end that I should be patient?" It's like he's saying, how long do I have to endure this?
And there's that real sense of exhaustion, right? You get the feeling Job's been holding on for so long that he's reached a point of no return. He's questioning everything: his own strength, his endurance. Is my strength the strength of stones? That line really highlights how he feels utterly depleted.
That's such a poignant question. The image of someone with no more strength left, not even the strength of stones, is so powerful. And then he talks about his friends, calling them deceitful like a dry brook. That metaphor, the caravans that travel beside them turn away, really paints a vivid picture of how abandoned he feels.
It's brutal, isn't it? His trust in his friends has crumbled and he feels betrayed. Job expected his friends to support him, to offer wisdom and comfort. But instead, they're just as unreliable as the dry brook. They have nothing to offer in the way of help, and this compounds his pain.
I think that's one of the most painful parts of Job's story. He's not just suffering physically, he's emotionally isolated too. His friends' responses, or lack of them, make him feel even more alienated. Job says, "Teach me, and I will hold my peace." And you get the sense that he's longing for genuine understanding, not empty answers.
Yes, and that desperation is really evident in the next chapter when Job says, "Isn't a man forced to labor on earth? Aren't his days like the days of a hired hand?" There's this weariness in his voice. It's like he feels trapped in a cycle he can't escape from. His whole existence at this point feels like suffering.
It's almost as if he's asking, is this all life amounts to? Pain and hardship, with no rest in sight? He even says, "My flesh is clothed with worms and clods of dust." That's such a stark image, isn't it? The physical decay reflecting the emotional and spiritual decay.
Definitely. There's a sense of decay in everything: his body, his mind, his spirit. And he's waiting for an end, longing for release from his suffering. The line, "Oh, remember that my life is a breath, my eye will no more see good," really captures his sense of finality. It's like he's resigned to the fact that things will never improve.
It's hard to even imagine what it's like to reach that point of despair. And yet, even then, Job doesn't stay silent. He keeps questioning, keeps seeking understanding. That relentless pursuit of meaning, even when it feels like there is none, is so raw and human.
It really is. And then, his reflection on God's justice adds another layer. When Job says, "How can man be just with God?" he's expressing the overwhelming realization that no matter what we do, we're just tiny specks compared to God's vastness. He goes on to say, if he is pleased to contend with him, he can't answer him one time in 1,000. It's as if he's acknowledging the impossibility of understanding God's will when suffering is so intense.
And that's the crux of it, right? Job knows deep down that he can't possibly win an argument with God. He sees God as all-powerful, all-knowing, an entity he can't hope to comprehend. Yet, he's still asking, still pleading for some form of communication or understanding.
It's that paradox, isn't it? Even when Job knows he's powerless, he continues to cry out, to demand answers. He says, "I would make supplication to my judge." Even though he feels abandoned, he still holds on to this idea that God is somehow his judge, that maybe, just maybe, he'll get an answer.
That's what's so striking about Job's character. Even in his darkest moments, he doesn't lose that need to communicate with God. His suffering doesn't make him turn away from faith, it makes him question it even more deeply. But there's no easy resolution in his search for meaning, and that's something we can all relate to.
Exactly. Life doesn't come with easy answers. And sometimes, like Job, we find ourselves at a crossroads where we question everything: our faith, our purpose, our very existence. But I think Job's story reminds us that questioning, wrestling with our doubts, and expressing our pain are all part of the journey.
I agree. The journey of suffering and faith is messy, complicated, and sometimes even feels like we're talking to the air. But like Job, we keep searching. His story isn't just about the answer, it's about the act of wrestling with life and faith itself. It's a process, not a conclusion.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this book so timeless. It speaks to anyone who has ever felt lost or abandoned in their suffering. Job shows us that even when the answers aren't clear, our quest for understanding is still worthwhile.
And maybe that's the point. We may never get all the answers we want, but the act of questioning, of seeking truth, of being honest about our pain, that's something we can always hold on to. Even in the darkest moments, there's still hope in the search for meaning.
Well said. It's all about finding the strength to keep going, even when it feels impossible. Thank you for joining us today as we explore Job's powerful reflections on suffering, faith, and the human experience.
It's always a deep dive into the heart of humanity. We'll see you next time.